What's up? I'm AJ and welcome back to Gen Z Garage. In today's episode, I'm going to be rebuilding the HEI distributor from my crossfire injected 1984 Corvette engine. This video also applies to the 85 to 89 distributors in the Corvettes because they're basically the same build. These are all the parts that I'll be using, so let's get started.
Before we start the teardown, I'll quickly talk about everything you'll need for a successful rebuild. First, you'll want a Phillips head screwdriver and nut driver with a range of sockets from 6 to 8 millimeters, depending on what's been used on the distributor. You'll also want a punch and a black magic marker. You also want a small oil can to lubricate the parts during assembly.
I didn't know it had oil in it. Okay, go.
Next, I have a replacement main harness with intact connectors. I also have a brand new distributor coil cover, a brand new high-quality HEI replacement coil, a brand new OEM General Motors ignition control module, along with a spare for comparison. I also have a new condenser coil and harness, a brand new pickup coil with magnet and bracket, as well as a brand new distributor cap and rotor. We start disassembling the distributor by disconnecting the condenser coil plug from the distributor cap, and then unbolting the 4 distributor cap hold-down clips. You can remove these clips by pushing down with the screwdriver and turning them 90 degrees. Not all of them will be easy to turn, unfortunately.
There we go. Yeah, so if it's kind of stripped where you can't get this in all the way, you can like try to push it with your finger and that works. Of course, this one's like super easy. Yay!
And then the rotor, which is held in place by 2 6mm screws.
Didn't work as I had hoped. Whoa. Hooray.
Next, I remove the ignition control module, along with both the condenser and main harness wiring. They are each held in place with a mix of 6mm or Phillips head screws. It doesn't matter which you remove first, as it can all kind of come out at once, but I start with the ground wire on the main harness. With both harnesses removed, I free the ignition control module by disconnecting it from the pickup coil.
Some riveting things going on right now. But I think I'm blocking from the camera because I can't get this out. Yay! It's free, and my hands are a little crusty, but that is okay. Happens on Gen Z Garage.
I can now prepare for removing the cam gear.
Make sure you remember the orientation. When this is going this way, this divot should be pointing up.
Next, I mark the orientation of the rotor to the divot on the camshaft gear. Next, we need to remove the press-fit dowel pin.
You want to put the gear in the vise, and you want to make sure that it's secured with a towel so it doesn't get damaged, and you want to make it really tight.
And then we use our properly sized punch to remove the dowel.
You have to align the punch with this hole here, and then you move the camera a little bit back.
I can now remove the gear and any bushings. It's tight on there, so pull hard to remove it.
Oh, there we go. Hooray! Ugh, it's greasy.
There are two important things to remember. First, remember the orientation of the cam drive gear, any shim washers, as well as the tanged washer. All of these items should go back exactly as they were removed. Second, the distributor shaft does not have any direct means of oiling and typically gets what oiling it does from oil spray that occurs within the engine crankcase. This means that all of that varnish and sticky residue on both the distributor shaft and inside the distributor body must be absolutely spotless before you put these items back together. This will ensure proper oiling of the components. But before we get into that, let's remove the pickup coil.
Literally had one turn left and it just wouldn't break free. That's stupid. Whoa. Go back. You can replace the carrier if you want, otherwise you can just clean it up and make sure it's in good shape, but you have to replace the coil. Coil doesn't want to get replaced apparently. There we go.
If you don't want to remove the bracket, you can leave it installed and clean it up with a cupped wire brush attachment. However, it's recommended that you remove this because it will make installation of a new pickup coil kit easier, and there is likely to be a lot of oil and caked on grease behind it that will inhibit proper oil flow. To remove this bracket, you must carefully remove this ring clip which holds it in place.
Once you remove the trim ring, you can carefully slide this off. Oh, maybe not. There we go. See all that gunk? That all has to go. I've cleaned and painted my distributor casing, and while that's drying, I'm gonna disassemble the ignition coil.
Take note that the only reason why you would disassemble this part, rather than replace all of it, is if you plan to reuse anything from it, such as the ignition coil. In this case, the only thing I want to reuse is the original Delco Remy coil cap, but I'll show disassembly for those who need it.
This is heavy. I'm gonna put you there. That spring is crooked. That is not how it's supposed to look. Now that I've disassembled the other one, I can reassemble a brand new one with brand new parts. This goes in first with the pintle side in and the spring up. And then you put in this.
Don't forget the ground lead, which installs in the middle socket.
Now I just slide the ignition coil in place. And these go here. I'm gonna put this here so it has a more like direct connection. Do I use these screws? Yes, I do.
Make sure to install the ground lead in the same way that I have, so it has a more direct contact to the connector lead beneath it. Also, ensure that you do not over-tighten the screws and potentially crack the plastic distributor cap. They are not cheap.
Make sure this slides under and then you can tighten it down. And make sure you tuck these wires in, like so. So it's not in all the way. I decided I was gonna reuse the cap because I like using things that are original, and also it says made in USA and Delco Remy, and the other one didn't say that. So this one's just much cooler. I'm now going to install the pickup coil on my newly painted distributor.
I apply a little bit of oil to the shaft sleeve to make it easier to install the pickup coil and bracket assembly. And then I install the pickup coil. Make sure you properly align it with the dowel or screw hole on the distributor case.
Now that I have the pickup coil installed, I'm going to reinstall the trim ring. Boom. Whenever possible, you always want to reuse your GM things instead of the new stuff, because the GM stuff is most of the time way better. We also found this heat shield, so that'll help prevent this from overheating, as well as this thermal paste, which will also help with that. Next, I plug in the pickup coil to the ignition control module.
It's important to mention that the coil should look like this, with the green wire inside and the white wire outside. There have been several instances where lower quality aftermarket replacements have reversed these wires.
Next, I'll plug in the ECM harness. Next, I'm going to install the capacitor. Now that that's installed, I can tighten this up again. Oh, that's the wrong direction. I don't know why I did that. There we go. Now I'm going to be installing the distributor shaft.
I coat the distributor shaft with a layer of synthetic oil. Notice that the shaft has been completely cleaned of any varnish and old sticky oil residue. The fresh oil will ensure that the starter does not have a dry start and will be lubricated until oil spray in the crankcase occurs. Do not use assembly lube here. Otherwise, it can prevent fresh oil from accessing this area where there is no oil pressure. I also oil the other components before reassembly.
Now I'm installing the bushings.
Make sure the tanged washer prongs face up towards the distributor.
Now we're gonna reinstall the dowel.
I use a Dutch wooden shoe as a support to prevent damage to the gear as I hammer it in.
I use a vise to press it in the rest of the way.
And now onto the rotor.
This will only fit one way because there's a notch here and a notch there. Okay, that should be good. And now I'm going to install the HEI distributor cap. Ooh, this thing's heavy. These clips have to be out before you install it, and this notch goes right here.
And with that out of the way,
I'm gonna be putting RTV sealant on only one side of this gasket because it only needs it to adhere to this.
and with that, we're finished.
So now I've finished rebuilding this distributor, which also doubles as a magic wand if you're really strong and can just carry this around all day and cast little spells like Harry Potter or whatever. In the next episode, I'm going to be installing this into the Corvette, and that is the last thing I need to actually get the car to run, which is really exciting. If you like cars running that are classic cars and you know you're rebuilding a classic car, that's pretty cool, right? Well, SEMA also thinks that's cool, and there's people who think that that's not cool. So who would you rather side with, SEMA or someone who thinks you shouldn't work on your own car? I think the answer is fairly obvious, I'd personally say. So make sure to go check out SEMA Action Network. There's gonna be a rally soon in California. I don't know if I'll be able to make it, but you definitely want to go support them because it's going to be a big thing. We all know California hates cars and any motorized vehicles, so they're going to try to make California like cars again. So definitely go support SEMA Stan. If you like this video, make sure to support my channel. You can like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video when I can finally get the Corvette running.